one was fine. The last one was not. And then our next one is the 6th of race.
Hey gang,
We set it up earlier.
greetings to you. I'm doing something, a couple things unusual tonight. The main thing is, there we go, I am doing a huge watercolor painting. The ceremony is just a wedding in the home, and the ceremony just finished. In spite of my best efforts, the paper is wrinkling quite extremely. Yes, this is a 36 by 48 inch watercolor painting, which is what the bride and groom asked for. As you can imagine, I'm doing some unusual pyrotechnics. As I try to render as I said, a few tricks up my sleeve tonight. One you already saw was me using extremely long handle brushes. I'm doing two paintings tonight. A 36 by 48 inch watercolor painting and a 24 by 36 inch oil painting right across the room, right behind me over here. And I have so many acres to cover, so to speak, that I'm going to be resorting to, at the moment, pre-mixing. Hey. Yeah, that's right. That's all right. We're good.
Anything for you?
That's a good question. It is possible. Let me think for just a second. Oops. I don't think so, Jesse. I managed to get a brief nap during the ceremony upstairs. That was nice. Very brief, yeah. During the boring sermon. I'm sorry. No, the wonderful. I'm sorry. Wonderful sermon.
So we have two right here. No, we have a chair right here. We have one wheelchair. No, that's oh, sorry, that's right. Then we have for Pam and Tom.
I'm thinking. I think I'm good. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. That's my faithful assistant, Jesse, who's kind enough to come and help me here. What I'm doing here, by the way, is I've got a bucket, a small jar whoops, with a lid connected to the bottom, a jar with it had about 8 ounces of water in it, maybe 7 or 6, and I mixed that. I poured into that several large doses of liquid watercolor. That is little jars of watercolor that you can buy, already mixed up instead of typical paste-ish watercolor. Simply because I have so many acres to cover here. So I think I'm going to do exactly the same thing now for blue. So I have here a jar of blue liquid watercolor. Now, I have no idea what color that is or what intensity is. So I'm just going to if I get the chance here in a while, I will show you. Oh, yeah, that's nice. So this is outdoors. This is one of those paintings which happens not infrequently with wedding receptions. One of those paintings where we are standing indoors, but a significant part of the view is outside. Whew. All right, so let me tell you a little bit more about where I am here. I am in the mountains of North Carolina, near Manor Elk, near Boone, home of Appalachian State University. Beautiful, beautiful area, and I'm in a home on the top, near the top, so to speak, on top of one of those homes you see peeking through the trees at the top of a mountain here in the Appalachian or Smoky Mountains. Beautiful home. And just a little bit about the technique or the style that I'm doing besides large. I will not finish either of these tonight. It's almost 6 o'clock already, and this particular reception is going to be ending at a little after 10. So I only have about 4 hours to work on 2 fairly large paintings. So I'm just here to entertain and get started, hopefully good start on painting, and then I'll take it home and finish it there. Trying to mix up a warm yellow orange right now. I'm not sure I've ever done a watercolor painting quite this large. Ooh, here's another trick. I didn't invent it for this painting, but I made sure it was ready to go. And that is spray, little bottles of spray watercolor. Really, boy, that's a great help right there. All the basic colors, if you will, all the primary and secondary colors in a brown. So I think I have 7 little spray bottles. Now, as you can see, this paper is wrinkling amazingly much. That's in spite of the fact that I soaked it in the bathtub at home a couple weeks ago. Soaked it in the bathtub for about 10 minutes and then stretched it. So I did about all I could do to get rid of the wrinkly waves, and alas, still not enough. And indeed, I am going to be doing what I call my watercolor sketch technique on this. I call it a watercolor sketch so that I don't feel obligated or bound to follow all the traditional rules. Ooh, that is not drawing well at all. So these are watercolor pencils. I call it a watercolor sketch so that I can use tricks, such as this trick here, which is using watercolor pencils in the painting. Watercolor pencils are truly a lot of fun. They're not what I would call, they're not traditional. Is that the right word? I don't think one would be admitted, say, for instance, into Watercolor Society of America competition, for instance, if you used watercolor pencils, because it's just not traditional. But I don't care about traditional. I do care very much about creating an attractive, beautiful painting. And it's certainly fair to say that my native style, if you will, Dan Nelson, especially over the last 4 or 5 years in my oil painting, my signature style includes a fair amount of line work, liney stuff, even in my oil paintings, right? Where I've gotten, if you're a regular, you know, so I use pencils, black pencils in my watercolor, in my oil paintings quite a bit. And so this using pencils watercolor pencils is roughly parallel to that, I suppose, in the watercolor realm. One of the artists I enjoy thinking about anytime I do a watercolor, especially where I'm using a watercolor sketch, is my old friend who's long since passed away, tragically way too young, Neil Watson, Dr. Neil Watson. I've talked about him before in previous podcasts, previous broadcasts, I should say. And alas, he passed away, as many artists did, before the proliferation of the internet. So it's hard to find his work, but several of my viewers over the years have persevered and found Neil Watson. And I mention him because he was a watercolorist, but he used pen and ink a great deal in his watercolor. All right, now I've got a little predicament here. I'm trying to decide which way to go. I'm going to try this. I've never done this before. So here's the room, by the way, being set up for the reception. Now, bear with me. I'm going to get you pointed in the right direction. Oh, you are pointed in the right direction. How about that? Amazing. All right. So here's my other painting, 24 by 36. It will be an oil painting, of course. Right now it's in its lowly acrylic underpainting stage. Then it will be in that lowly state, as you know, well, all you regulars know, it will be for quite some time. I did a minimum of abstract, and I would love to do more, but I simply don't have time. So, hang on, I am thinking. I look like I'm thinking, don't I? I think I had better figure out, I'm having a great time, as I always do, I'm having a great time drawing the architecture. But I think that I had better reevaluate. I think I'm going to do the bride and groom. Probably there. And I'm going to move some of the furniture. There's actually big tables, big tables, plural, here. And of course, right now I'm painting by the seat of my pants because, of course, there's nobody here. That all the guests are sitting outside, standing outside, enjoying the cocktail hour. So I don't really know what the people will look like, but I can't wait till they get in here. So let's do some server type people, or else guests who are standing up at the moment. Yeah. Let me look. Yeah, so I have to adjust my architecture a little bit. And the most striking, this beautiful house, as I said earlier, and the most striking element is this huge open on four sides fireplace, gas fireplace, big enough you could walk in. Gas fireplace, open on four sides. Great fun. So yeah, everything I drew earlier has to get redrawn. I'm raising it all up. Now that I have bride and groom sketched in. Thinking again. After my old tricks, I get thinking. I can't afford to think. Can't afford the time. You know, one thing that I do, I thought this so often, really, with all my plein air painting and with my wedding painting, for any students watching, don't follow my example. I actually happen to think that doing thumbnails and rough sketches is actually a very good habit. It's just you'd never know. I think that by watching me, especially painting live an event. We don't have time for sketches. Yes, I have. You may be sure. Whoa! There's a bad brush. I have not a drop cloth. That would be unsightly, slippery, dangerous. I have a whole assortment of throw rubs, area rubs, runners at my feet here. I'm going to do something I don't do very often. It's a technique because this paint is on here too heavy. I'm going to, there we go, paint with a rag. There, that worked well. Except that I almost lost all the drawing I did just a few minutes ago. Not quite, so, okay. So I have drop cloths underneath me, plural, taped down around the edges because I am at a wedding reception, and don't tell anybody I said this, but at wedding receptions, they tend to be, first of all, old people, bless them. So stepping over a little edge of a rug would be a problem. They may not see it, so on. And then late in the evening, wedding receptions tend to have tipsy people. Can I put it that way? And once again, stepping over the corner of a rug can be a problem for tipsy people. Oh. I'm drawing here with again another one of my unconventional media, and I'm using it especially because this is all damp, of course, so it gives me good opportunity to make these nice fat lines. I'm drawing with I'm having a hard time talking and painting at the same time tonight, can you tell? Drawing with water-soluble pastels. How's that for a strange animal? Water-soluble pastels, indeed. These are made by, I'm not sure they went off real big in the art world because I'm not sure they're still made. Charvan, the people who make oil and acrylic paints, manufactured these out of Paris. Charvan for you Yanks. Probably Charvan, if I was really going to pronounce it. Anyway, it's water, so it's essentially, it's like a powdery, that's good. I'm going to leave that for now, let that dry. When I come back, that'll be fun. It's like a powdery watercolor. So here's the strange part again. Pick you guys up.
Ben, one question.
Yeah.
Dan, I'm going to turn these lights way down. You may find that you want to adjust your lights just a little.
Will do.
The goal is sort of like we become canvas.
Yes. Got it. Yeah, got it. All right. Forgive me once again for that horrible circus ride I just gave you. Let's try that now. Back over to the watercolor. Ooh, I like the blue. I've been instructed I may need to turn down my lights. Can you give me a hand? I don't want anybody to scream at me. Can I put my hand on your shoulder? Thank you. And yes. All right. Oh my goodness, soaking wet. Let's go to a slightly smaller brush, though. I think it's time for that. Yeah. Hello, all you friends chatting. Hey, Uncle. Yes, Foxhole Willie, I will be doing wedding paintings as a part-time painter. Thank you for asking that nice question. Yes, indeed. I can tell already this painting is never going to be dry all evening. The paper, as you can see, is already soaking wet. So there are only certain things that I can do with soaking wet paper, right? Zoom in, maybe you'll get a little better. There you go. Now that the room is set up with tables, I can turn around and see more or less where people are going to be sitting. Big flower arrangement. One of the, some of you are saying, watercolor, what are you doing? You lost all your whites. Okay, wait, I'll go ahead and tell you. I made an executive decision, if you will. I made the decision, the bride and groom, hang on, I'm interrupting myself. pause the decision sentence, start bride and groom. I think right about here, I think that orange is not dark enough. I made a decision before I even got here that I was going to utilize a lot of lifting on this particular painting. That is to say, I'm going to be removing paint to create my light areas. I only have 2 areas of white left, and all your watercolors colors go. You've already destroyed all your white. All right, so there you go. I'm going to be doing a lifting with Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. I have a couple of these, right? New ones, brand ready to go. We'll do something else right now that I have promised I've never done in all my years of watercolor painting. I'm using long-handled bristle brushes on a watercolor painting. The reasons are simple. Well, the scene is changing. They're closing doors on me. Anyway, all right. The reason I'm using long-handled is simple. It's because the painting is so large. It's really difficult to navigate, get the job done using traditional length watercolor brushes, right? All right, the scene, I'm happy to say the scene is getting more interesting as they've closed doors and so on and so forth. But I can't carry. The reason you don't use bristle brushes typically in watercolor is because they don't carry much water, right? I need some new, some fresh watercolor paint. That is to say, Van Dyke Brown, good. I learned years ago, it'd be interesting if one of you can look this up, see if it's still true. I learned from one of my first art teachers, like 25 years ago, not art teachers, painting teachers, 25 years ago, when I did the imitation, I did a copy of a Bouguereau painting. Anyway, my professor, teacher, told us, his class, that in oil paint, Van Dyke Brown never dries. That's interesting, isn't it? Supposedly, Van Dyke Brown never dries. So I have not used Van Dyke Brown in my watercolor painting for many years. I'm sorry, in my oil painting. I've not used Van Dyke Brown in my oil painting for many years, which is unfortunate because I find it a very attractive color. But that is certainly not a problem when it comes to watercolor painting, so that's nice. So me and my old friend Van Dyke are united at last. Now there's nothing wrong with this painting that a good 2 hours of drying wouldn't take care of. Let me turn you guys around just for a minute so you can see what I'm I'm looking at here. Whoops. And I know every time I pick you up, I just give you a wild ride. So there's the scene at the moment. Isn't that lovely? This brings me to a very knotty, K-N-O-T-T-Y, very knotty issue. Very big question. Not quite right. Hang on. I've got my camera propped up between candles, by the way. The knotty question issue is light source. Play of light, of course, is the single most important element, aspect of a painting. Is play. And anytime you have a scene, in a indoor scene, an interior painting that has a significant amount of outdoor light coming into it, you have this knotty question. This is one of those hard lessons I learned the hard way by experience. The question is, you have to decide. I have to decide. The artist has to decide. What's the number one light source? You cannot have competing light sources, which in fact, in reality, in the room here where I am right now, is exactly what I do have, is competing light sources. And somebody's going to say, why? Why can't you have competing light sources? Oh boy, you would have to ask that question, would you? The answer is because it doesn't work. And shut up now. Let's see if I can do any better than that. Why can't you have competing? Because it's confusing. It creates visual confusion. It's not a pleasant effect. So, either, while I'm at it, go ahead and make my decision. I think I know what I'm going to do, but let's talk about it anyway for a minute. In this case, as is always, not usual, this is evening light, okay? So this is not middle of the day sunlight, yellow sun streaming in through the window. I'm assuming you could figure that out already. It's 7 o'clock p.m. So it's definitely twilight blue light coming in through this whole bank. The back of the house is all actually doors, louvered doors, very big, fancy wooden louvered doors. So there's going to be a lot of blue twilight. Now I could make it black outdoors. That'd be one option. Just all the light coming from inside, none from the outside. Would not be a good choice. But inside, this is the typical, again, I'll show you again when I get a moment. Typical reception, low romantic candle light, right? Typical. I'm going to go ahead and start. I think this is the bride and groom are going to be right here, I think. Sitting at a table and surrounded by their friends. I'm not doing a portrait of the bride and groom, I don't think. I'm going to do an abstract, approximate portrait of the bride and groom, okay? It needs to look like that. So it's more shape of head, physique, the way he holds his back, shoulders, body, arms, and likewise her. We're not going to see legs, but in this painting. So the lighting is typical reception. Candles, and warm chandeliers from up here. Oh, in fact, you know what? I think I'm going to bring some chandeliers. They aren't actually going to be visible, but nobody will notice or complain if I lower them about 2 feet. One here, one here, that'd be nice. Not even, make sure, right? Not symmetrical. One here and one here. That's important. So the way the painting looks right now, it's backlit. It's cool evening and silhouettes. It is most certainly not going to stay that way. Now let me think. Should I go ahead while I'm at it and just go ahead and start bluing, darkening up that blue? Yeah, I think I will. So probably, and I have certainly faced this issue many times over the years, what to do with two light sources in a wedding reception. And even though there's virtually no indication, oh, I just about spilled my blue watercolor. Wouldn't that have been fine? Even there's virtually no indication of it right now. This painting, the primary light source is, ooh, that's nice, isn't it? The primary light source, in fact, is going to be the warm candlelight chandeliers and so forth. Okay, so that's part of the reason why I'm going ahead right now already and darkening the blue, because in fact, no doubt I'll be adding. So let's do that right now.
Before the guests will be
okay, excellent. Thanks. I'm going to add some. Whoops. I just dipped my brush in the brown paint. That's right. I'm going to add some purple violet to this and start getting this dark already. So once again, I don't know anybody that does a watercolor this way. That is, I'm trying to think of big dogs, famous people. My favorite is, you may know, my favorite watercolorist is Alvaro Castanet from Uruguay. I don't say his name or his country properly, I'm sure. But he is nevertheless my favorite watercolorist, Alvaro Castanet. And I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. Anyway, I'm not doing this painting anything like him. And again, it's partly because I had really hoped to do a practice big watercolor before I got here today. But, good high hopes dashed down to rocks of reality. one of those moments. So I did not get that done. But I've certainly been thinking about it a lot. And again, I sort of made an executive decision, if you will. It's like, nope, this is the way it's going to go. This is the way it's going to go. No ifs, ands, or buts. We're just going to do it this way. And that is to say, we're going to not even try. Again, largely because of the size of the painting and the speed with which I have to do it. I'm not even going to try to retain my whites. I'm going to do it the cheap, easy way, which is lift them out with, there we go. I'm getting closer. The overall tonal range is closer. So I'm going to do a lot of lifting, again, with Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. I am not positive that all the colors I'm using are eminently liftable. I don't think I'm using any staining colors, and I rather hope I'm not, but if I am, it'll just add to the overall charm. That is just soaking wet.
28 right here. I'm 28. Yeah. 28. 29.
I think I'm going to start doing some lifting right now. So most of my lifting, again, the heavy lifting, that's funny, I've never used that term before. The heavy lifting will be done, oh, that's not having much effect up there, is it? Here either, I don't suppose, but the heavy lifting will be done with Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. But you can do, of course, this hardly even counts as lifting because it's just wet. This is just called blotting up, right? But those are candles, if you will. Those are chandeliers. Yeah. Lots and lots of sparkly candle. And after I lift the sparkly candle out, then I will repaint those areas yellow orange, so it'll be warm. Not at all like this. It's a rather cool painting right now. Cool brown and cool blue. I just discovered I have a snag in my system that I don't have a trash bag over here. All right, I'm going to move you again. Prepare yourself for a wild ride. Nice shot, the inside of my hand. I'll show you again the scene, what it looks like right now. Of course, you understand as I look at that monitor, it's actually, the scene is much brighter on your monitor than it is in real life. Because, just wave at the camera. It's actually considerably darker in here than it looks like there.
Remember that? Now look under the chair and you'll see if you have
Once again, I'm messing with the florist.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, hang on, I have to walk across the room to this pointed right direction. All right, hang on, I'll get that zoomed in just a second. You playing the piano?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, don't play any copyrighted music, okay?
Any what?
Copyrighted music. I'm teasing you. I'm broadcasting on YouTube, and if you play music, then I'll get nice letters from YouTube.
Well, I'm playing a lot of jazz.
Good. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends on the
How close you sound to Dave Brubeck?
Hopefully I sound
just exactly
I'd love
better.
to be able
than
to play like him. But
And I'm kidding. Please play whatever you want. I love it.
I'm Ingrid, by the way.
Hi, Ingrid. I'm Dan. Can we shake hands?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Dan.
I'm not sick at Nelson. I paint weddings.
I've never seen this. I've
Yeah.
never seen that before. Like a
Usually
wedding painting.
one painting is enough, and this is a ridiculously large watercolor.
Yeah,
So-
I was really admiring.
And I won't finish at all since this ends at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, I was wondering.
Are you here all night? Are you playing all evening?
Yes,
Good.
I am.
I love it. I do a lot of weddings and a lot of all nice weddings, but most of them have a big band, a loud band, and earplugs are part of my standard equipment.
Yeah,
So, I don't
you're
need that
playing
for you.
during,
Yeah.
the receptions.
Thank you. Look forward to hearing you. You'll make me paint better, I'm sure. We can always hope. I can always hope. Yeah. We good?
Yes, are you? Sorry, I keep
Yeah.
interrupting.
Oh no! No!
I'm
No!
like,
It's so
feel
crazy.
like
I've never carried a camera back and forth
Yeah.
between two
No,
paintings.
I mean it makes sense that that's
So-
what you're doing.
Anyway,
Is it a live stream?
yes,
Whoa.
on YouTube. Yeah.
Wow, how
Yeah.
many people are watching? Well, 13 right now.
Yeah.
That's not bad. It looks like a lot of people are speaking about it. That's great.
Yep. All right. Whew. Similar issue over here, except the question now is not really at all about lighting. There's, as you know, the blue light is completely out of the picture over here. So everything in this scene is warm. It's all interior light. But again, make no doubt about it. A painting is all about the light. In fact, I think this might be a short step here on this painting here, because I have one very specific thing that I need to do, and that is I'm going to go ahead and paint some glow. Now, they turned off the fireplace on me, but I'm going to turn it back on. I really developed a strong conviction. Can I use that word? A couple months ago, one of the later wedding paintings that I did. It was a lovely venue, and it was a place that sells plants and so on, landscape nursery kind of place. Transitioned into a wedding venue. They did a beautiful job. It was lovely. Big stone fireplace, and in the fireplace and on the fireplace were candles, and but they didn't light. The candles were not lit. And in my painting, in fact, some of you, this was just back in October, so not very many months ago. You can hear me ranting. Not that I would ever rant, understand. But you can hear me ranting about the fact that the candles were not lit. As I like to say, they were waiting. They only light the candles when important people are there. Anyway, so I made the decision while I was doing it that, darn it, I should have said something. I really think I should have. I should have said something to the owners, managers, because I really think it was somebody forgot. So anyway, I don't want to make a nuisance of myself. So I did that, but I changed my mind. From now on, I will always. I think this is the bride. I'm not sure that's going to be the case, but that's the bride and groom right there. So here tonight, I am not going to tell them to turn on the fireplace, but I am going to have the fireplace burning in my painting. I might mention it to the people. Anyway, so that's all I'm going to do here, though, because that has to dry before I can do anything on top of that. And what I'll do on top of that white, of course, you old timers, is I'm going to do yellow orange glaze on top of all that white that I just put on, so it'll be warm. All right, Alan. Just for what it's worth, aesthetically, in my painting, the fireplace will be on. And I think here it ought to be on too, but that's just my 2 cents worth. See, look I did it. He probably says, mind your own business, you jerk. But my conscience is clear. The evening will be prettier. That's so funny. Part of the irony is that me and the wedding producer here go way back, nearly 30 years actually. Actually, my goodness, we met in the fall of 1991. So yeah, 29 and a half years ago, me and Alan. All right, now what can I do here? I know one thing I can do. Yahoo, I'm excited about this. This is my little, can you see it? Little spray bottle of, in this case, yellow. And I have some orange here as well. So I can begin shifting. Love it, love it. And sometimes they don't spray perfectly well. Like this one is spattering. But I actually like the spatter.
Yeah, folks are coming in 3 minutes.
Okay. What a wet mess. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think the only thing that I can do on this, besides maybe do some more spraying, the only thing I can do on this sopping wet canvas is almost out of blue. Hang on here. little emergency. Whoops. So here, let me show you. Here is the little, see if you can see this. I know it's dark in here. Little bottles of watercolor paint. I want this watercolor. I've been thinking about this as well. You know, the question in my mind for the last several weeks is, my goodness, how in the world do you do a 36 by 48 inch watercolor? One of the main safeguards in my mind is that a lot of the painting, a lot of the finished painting.
Okay, photographer, are you ready for us to invite folks to come in?
A lot of the finished painting needs to remain abstract, washy, you know, classic watercolor kind of stuff. I can't get sucked accidentally into doing a lot of detail. Good, here comes the live music.
So I will give you as much heads up as I possibly can. If I miss you and you just kind of hear someone start talking loudly, I don't know, are you listening to them too, or are you just kind of do that? Just so I know, so I can cue you. Okay, that's fine. We'll cue you. So every time something's happening, we'll kind of pause out and then.
So yeah, I want large areas of the painting to be running, of course. And then, let me finish that thought, and then
We're going to welcome people in like the next 2 minutes, so that's perfect. Thank you.
certain key areas of the painting, very tight and detailed, of course. Again, a pretty standard watercolor technique, I would say. All right, and I think the only thing I can do right at the moment on this soaking wet paper, I can see when I get home, I'm going to have quite a chore flattening out. I'm going to do some research about how to flatten out a watercolor. Sweet. Okay, I have fuchsia in one hand and scarlet pink in the other. One thing about these pencils, as you can readily imagine, with this wet paper, these pencil lines will not be erasable, because I'm definitely creating a deep groove in the paper. It'll be part of the finished texture of the painting. Some of those marks, of course, are just abstract. I like the music. Not that I don't like those amazing, hot, big bands that I hear at most weddings. But they are loud and damage your hearing. Tonight there will be no hearing loss. Hallelujah. All right, there we go. So the bride's on the left, the groom's on the right. And they're actually right here. That doesn't mean I need to put them exactly right there. Yeah, no. I'm going to put the bride here. So this requires a picture. Time for a picture. Whoops, I thought this camera was on. Maybe it's not. Let's try another one. Maybe it's in my pocket. Nope. Here it is. All right, another good shot of the bride and groom. These cameras, phone cameras, in many cases, are really good low light. I don't know if I can show you this or not. But here's how, let me see how it looks. Hang on, I'll get there in a minute. Hang on. Bear with me. Oh, sorry.
I'd like to welcome everybody.
That's what it looks like.
Joining us for dinner tonight. Thank you so much for coming. And I'd love to have guests here. We want to make sure everybody knows that they're welcome to come back and bring our furniture. Which should be restored tomorrow.
Feel free to pop back by on your way out of town.
But we'd love you to come up and stay with us. And now Daniel's going to give us some.
Heavenly Father, we want to say thank you for this day in your name. That we can rejoice and be glad. Father, we thank you for the goodness and the loving kindness. That's what I meant to do. And Father, we thank you for your daily provision. And we thank you for this food which we are about to receive. And we ask you to bless it and send it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Anyway, sorry about that. I intended to show you a picture. Instead, I messed up. Anyway, that right there actually gives me very good color reference. That is, in essence, the kind of thing I want to do. Now, I am wondering, I don't know, I've never done this. I need an assistant, by the way. Good, I need you.
Yes, indeed. I do.
Several things. Mostly water. Sure. No, I'll get that one. That thing is full of tubes of paint. Mm-hmm. Dump those carefully and quietly in there, and then fill that up with water. Okay. And then over there, the water bucket is very dirty. It has a bunch of brushes. So find a place, clogging the sink, dump out the water, clean it, and clean the brushes while you're at it. Okay. Right? Thanks, Jeff. Thank you. Okay, let's see what I can do here. And that won't work. I need two Mr. Cleans. All right, so what I have to watch out for, and I'm not sure. Yeah, the question is, how much is this rubbing action going to damage the paper? And indeed, it is. All right, plan B. run to the other room for a minute. Okay, so here's a trick. I actually just saw, forgive me, not Alvaro Castanet. This was one of his good buddies.
Do you want anything for dinner?
Yes,
You want just like a grilled chicken sandwich, burger?
Alan already talked to, wanted to compare notes with him.
Okay.
For me and Jesse.
Okay, great.
Thanks. Yeah, forgive me, I wish I could remember the name. It's a very well-known, very famous big dog painter. They'll let me use that expression. Great.
Do you want it just down here for
Yep.
now?
Great, thank you. Oh, so sorry. I wish anyway, if somebody like Alvaro Castanet, somebody equally as famous. Anyway, I watched him paint a couple paintings a couple weeks ago, and he did something I had never noticed before. And that was in the middle of this painting, watercolor painting, either, I'm not sure this is the right color, so give me just a second. Either he dropped in some gouache, red in this case, while the painting was still wet. It was either gouache or it was straight out of the tube watercolor, and it was yellow and or red, because some of those colors in watercolor, as you may know, some of those shades are quite opaque straight out of the tube. So he used them like I am right here. And what I discovered was that because his paper was already was still wet, it worked. It didn't look like opaque media. Do you follow me? So that's what I'm doing right here.
Honestly amazing watching the transformation of the space into this beautiful facility that is now in front of you. So I think something else that's even more beautiful, no offense, is the walk that you're about to enjoy today. All right, so our first wine, we're going to start off in Austria, which is one of my personal favorites. So thank you all for the team center of the room. Soft Select, lovely kind of a culture, we'll call it for wine that helps pair wine. So great wine. But excellent. So off to Bacau, Austria, where we're going to go. 2017 vintage. Weingut Immerreich? No. Extended my shoot. Oh, shoot. Is going to be the vintage side where this grape is coming from. Riesling is going to be great. You're enjoying your glass. One of my personal favorites as well. The Knoll family, founded in 1825 in the Bacau of Austria. One of the, we'll say, original good Austrian wine producers. Austria had this weird thing in the early 70s where they made bad wine. The Knoll family had no part in that. So, good selection of being in part for the first one. The next couple of wines are going to have some cast very good walk raw there as well. If you want something a little bit more vegetable, which is really tropical aromatic, or what we kind of make it sticky, it's going to have so, do enjoy and cheers.
That worked quite well. So do you see, because the paper is wet, the opaque color that I put in bled in, and so it doesn't look like, nearly as much like opaque gouache, which of course is what it is. Now I'm looking for a tube of white gouache. There we go. I want to add a little bit of highlight white into the center of, or not white, but warm, lighter color into the middle of those. Whoops, not that. That's what I don't want, right? That's certainly what I don't want. Now, the person that I watched, whatever his name was, maybe I'll think of it here in a minute, certainly did not do white like I'm doing right here. But the principle holds true because I'm doing, and I'll smear that around so that, again, so it doesn't look like opaque. So, alas, I learned just stumbled upon a difficult circumstance just a little while ago. That is that you can't use the Mr. Clean brush on a wet watercolor. I should have known that. It certainly makes sense. My intuition, as soon as I started, I went, oh, you know what? Because it was just eating the paper, if you will. This reminds me a little bit of a wedding painting I did a couple years ago up in Connecticut. I was doing two paintings for the day. One was of the ceremony, the other was, that's lovely. That's pretty, that's good enough. And the ceremony was in a big Catholic cathedral up in Connecticut. And I got there, of course, early, set up in the pews, you know, all ready to go. Got out my full sheet of watercolor paper, and I spent quite a bit of time before I put my first mark on the canvas. I spent quite a bit of time drawing. I'll finish my story in a minute.
The next drop will be a smaller object, so it's play on like a classic French cake with very savory with pistachio and some California strawberry. And then following that, we'll have white berries coming from Holland with soft cream and a little bit of dill. So the blue to the right is for the white berries, and the fork is intended for the foie gras.
So I was all set up in this cathedral and spent quite a bit of time, that's germane to the story, quite a bit of time drawing. And then as soon as I put the first, forgive me, I know I keep pausing to paint. I got a job to do here. Y'all leave me alone. Thank you. Yes. Same drill. Rinse these, squeeze them up, rinse all this out, and bring me that with water. Thanks, Jesse. As soon as I put my first touch down, I discovered that what I'd been working on all this time was not watercolor paper. Evidently, and to this day I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I think it was blotter paper. I actually, I blogged about this. There's a nice picture of the bride and groom. Will that stay there? Come on, will that stay there? Maybe if I, no. Come on. All right. Talk about a panic. I blogged about this on one of my wedding painter websites. Moments of panic. And it was too late. I'd already spent an hour or more on the piece. I did not have time to go back to my stash of watercolor paper and start over. Anyway, so the only thing I could do, the solution was just press on. The difference between watercolor paper and blotter paper, whatever this was that I couldn't, it just soaked in. It didn't sit on top of the paper at all, just soaked straight, soaked in like a sponge, and I couldn't move it. So I ended up doing quite a bit of opaque painting on that painting, quite a bit of gouache. And it's actually on my website. You can go there and see it. It's lovely. if I have to say so myself. Yeah, there's some bow ties around here. Yeah, okay, good. Anyway, it ended up lovely, but boy, was I sweating. Kind of like I am right now. A little bit with this wet mess here. In other words, I cannot do, all you watercolors understand, I can't do right now what I would like to do, because what I would like to do is walk away from this painting for 2 hours and come back when the paper is crusty dry and begin painting again. But of course that's what I can't do. So bride and groom there. So the figures, as you can probably imagine, on this side of the table, these are chairs, right? They're all going to be, great, thank you. Yep. These are all going to be silhouettes against the light. I'm not even looking at the people at the moment. It's just boy, girl, male, female, man, woman, etc. Looks kind of like the Last Supper. Jesus and James, Jesus and John. He's always way back there. What is Judas? Except in this Last Supper, there's people on both sides of the table. All right, it's getting interesting anyway. Now, I want to see if, big question, big if, can I silhouette these people? The answer is not much. The paper is soaking wet. And you can't do traditional painting on soaking wet paper. So I'm making stuff up quite radically here on the spot. Yeah. Well, that's not so bad. good. That's good color. I need bigger brushes. My monitor's playing. Do you know that rule? Always use as large a brush as you can. That person right there, whoever they are, is the wettest person in the whole bunch. Just realize all these people need to be bigger people on this side of the table. Whoops, that one's too big. All right. Believe it or not, it's getting there. Kind of interesting, isn't it? How about that? I'm going to stick around here a little bit longer. And I'm going to do more opaque stuff. surprise to me. Again, utilizing the fact that the paper is soaking wet to camouflage the reality that I'm using opaque gouache. Uncle 60 gave me $25 ice cream money. Thank you, Uncle. You're too much, my friend. Oh my goodness. All right, class, boys and girls, class. Here we go. Play of light, of course. Play of light is always the main thing, right? But I often talk about a particular kind of light. I call it punctiliar light, and I say the human eye is inexorably drawn to punctiliar light. And I shouldn't say that while I'm doing that there, because really, this stuff down here is what I'm really talking about. Trying to decide which. I'm going to try one of my chip brushes, cheap chip brush. Something was said about us eating supper, but by Amy, but she disappeared. I'm assuming they're not forgetting us.
Would you like me to go?
Inquire about that? Only because I think this might be one of the better opportunities while they're all busy eating. Yeah, while they're distracted. Yeah, let's go see if we can figure out. Thank you. The point I was going to make was that the punctiliar light peeking between the people is I think going to be the star of the show. That's what this painting is going to be. Now, if you were with me earlier, you heard me talking about the challenge of when you're doing an interior scene, an interior painting inside a house or church or barn, and yet there's windows, so you have competing light sources. You have indoor light and outdoor light competing. And I mentioned at the time that I was pretty sure I was going to make the warm. Oh, okay. So they're thinking about it. They're working on it. Okay. So you can certainly see here the results of my early on decision. Now this is going to be a painting about indoor lighting. Now I've taken the chandeliers that are really out of the picture frame and lowered them down, which helps a lot. Because just this alone, I feel like, anyway, that would be problematic. But now I've got a problem here. Glad I saw it now instead of having to wait later. The row of people in the front, they're too evenly spaced. Bride and groom here, so I want that open area. I know. I'm going to do a standing, maybe a waiter or somebody, a serving person right here, blocking that whole area. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and try to blot up some of that soup that I just created. Oh, I do need something. I didn't get a wastebasket. I don't know what to do about that. I don't know if you could find a literal wastebasket or a garbage bag or something. We could talk. Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so big person there. Oh, not lining up with the pillar. Oh my goodness. One mistake leads to another, doesn't it? In my world, anyway. You just fix one thing and then something else pops up. Oh, can't have that person. All right, now let me see. Oh, perfect. Thank you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'll put these. Tell you what, over there underneath my painting are some rags. So that they don't get nervous. It's just water, but I don't want anybody worrying about it. I'm thinking again. I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking. Yeah. While the paper is still wet, I had the opportunity, I believe, to do some blue, opaque blue. Again, just to get a little bit more glow, even though of course, even though the yellow candles and chandeliers are the main light source, the blue is an important secondary. By the way, this reminds me this came up. I lead a critique, by the way, and y'all can't come to it. Sorry. I'm on the board of a local arts organization in North Carolina called the Cary. That's one of the towns outside Raleigh where I live. Cary, Fine Arts League of Cary. So I'm on the board. And one of the things that we started doing last year during COVID was I lead an online painter's critique. And it's just all done on Zoom. I have thought about doing it for money in the future. I'm still thinking about it at the moment.
Of France, the area called Savoie, or as we would say, Savoy. The area known as the Jura would be this one. So 2016 vintage domain de Courvoisier. Argyle Blanc is a really fun blend of native Savoie white wine grapes. So in the glass here, you have about 40% of a grape called the Jonquière, which is really well known for these kind of darker, mineral, stony aromatics. In addition to that, 40% Chardonnay, which we should all hopefully know, and I do enjoy as well. The rest of that is going to be 20% of a Blanc. This little town of Savoie, or region of Savoie, is home to one of the larger mountains in France, known as Mont Blanc, which is the inspiration of, in fact, a classic French pastry, which has this lovely kind of dome shaped like a mountain. So with that mountain-sized Savoie, you get this lovely kind of stone, granite, limestone, mineral notes that actually echo the same aromatics in the wine. The next course coming up is going to be featuring some lighter flavors, which will want that minerality, again, that acidity, and that special kind of late kind of wine profile to really complement and accentuate the cut through the richness of the next course.
Took the words right out of my mouth. All right, gang, I'm going to go across the street to my other painting. Let this poor thing dry for a while. Again, let me give you a quick shot of the room. So now, as you can see, oh, by the way, I left a subject dangling. I'll get back to it in a minute. As you can see, all the light outside the window is completely gone. So my painting now is not accurate. Okay, what I was going to say a while ago is that I was leading a critique earlier this week, and the subject came up. One of my students, if you will, if I could just call him that, one of the participants, had done a figurative painting. It was all very, very, very warm, which is perfectly fine. I love monochromatic and warm paintings. But I pointed out to him that if you want your painting to appear to be warm, then you should add some cool notes to it. Otherwise, the painting just flattens out. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that right, but you can't get any warmer than warm, so to speak. Yellow orange is the warmest color, and if the painting is filled with things not far from that, then the overall effect will not be that it's a warm scene. The effect will be you just ran out of paint. I know, I'm being kind of silly. Anyway, so I suggested to this participant that he add some blue or cool green. Just little tips, like, you know, the girl was wearing an earring. You know, put a fleck of blue in the diamond, or so to speak, or whatever. Just, or even just a smudgy hint of blue way in the background. Anything will do. So that's just a tip. Another way to say the same thing, in a sense, is that all things being equal, and of course, all things are not always equal. All things being equal,
Jersey citrus, so a beautiful citrus farm in New Jersey. They have
sorry, the man's talking.
3 months out of the year. You have some mandarin quartz, sweet limes, Meyer lemon, and then some Italian Tardivo, so the Ethio family, slightly bitter, the contrast of sweet flavors there.
All right, time to do some dark stuff over here. I'm going to open my brown tub of paint. So what I'm again, you old timers know this, but I'm painting here with acrylic paints that have been pre-mixed. With liquid, so that they are all quite transparent. Okay, once again, I have over here the effect of the people on this side of the table, on the near side of the table, silhouetted against the light of the table. And the light of the table is the primary focus of this painting, both paintings, as it turns out. Both paintings, the main thing is the light from the candles. Not terribly uncommon for a wedding reception painting. A little more extreme in this case, I must say, that the room is quite dark, and almost all the light is just coming from the candles, lots of candles. And the chandeliers, which are once again, I'm lowering them down a little bit. And I mentioned earlier, I'm making one other important change to the painting, and that is I'm turning the fireplace back on. Earlier this evening, the fireplace was the gas log, the big fireplace, open on 4 sides. You know, big enough to walk through. This is the archway, and there's 4 arches, one facing each direction. Did I say this was a nice house? need larger brushes than this anytime I'm painting like that. That's not good painting. That's just hurry up and get this stupid thing colored in without wasting too much time. Maybe I should have put these down and gotten a larger brush. Too late now. And while I am here, I'm going to do something a little bit unusual, a little bit. Normally the rule is for my acrylic underpainting is all the colors, typically, the rule is all the colors are transparent and only the white is opaque. But every once in a while, I break that rule as I'm about to do right now. I'm mixing up some opaque warm yellow, just simply because it's a time saver. The effect isn't quite as magical, but it's so many layers to go on the painting that the effect won't really matter that much. So essentially, I'm doing the same thing on this painting that I just finished doing on the other one. That is rather ironic. But I am indeed doing two paintings of the same scene, just from two different angles. Isn't that unusual? And chandeliers, yeah. Actually, I'm going to move a chandelier once again. For the painting's sake, the chandelier should be down here. Flowers up here. Okay, not bad. The effect is getting there. It's strange, perhaps, that a painting that is so messy, so abstract, you can hardly even tell what's going on, can look, I was going to say so good, that might be putting it extreme, but can be so interesting, winsome. It's like, wait a minute, something's happening here. Something interesting is happening here. Now I'm going to do my old trick that I haven't done any yet. I'm going to do some drawing. And again, I believe the bride and groom are going to be here. I can't do much with that because I really don't know. I think they're going to dance. And I think all the people, these people are going to watch them dance, I'm thinking. I do this, I use pencils for two reasons. Partly because they are a great little tool in achieving realism, right? Yeah, they help me capture the essence of the scene, true. But more importantly than that, I just like the pure abstract feel of scratchy lines juxtaposed with this stone columns, by the way. Nice quick way to indicate that stone. And brickwork. And flowers. You knew those. I didn't even tell you that. Didn't need to tell you those were flowers, did I? more stonework. And a chandelier. There we go. All right, should I do anything else now? Yeah, before I go, I'm going to do one more quick layer of light. Truly using white this time. But of course, the paint on the canvas is wet, so as I rub a little bit, it mixes with what's already there, which I love. That soupy. I get a very painterly effect by mixing the white paint into wet stuff that's already on the canvas. Once again, this is punctiliar light. I talk about that quite a bit. What do I mean punctiliar? Well, of course, that word means pointy bits of light. But why don't I just say the human eye is inexorably drawn to pointy light? The reason is because if I said that, most people would think of objects that create pointy light, such as candles, stars, and Christmas lights. And that is not the point. The point is punctiliar light is pointy light that appears between dark objects all over the place. In fact, I've started saying lately that much of the beauty or attraction of a landscape is actually, so this is punctiliar light. I haven't painted any candles. The light is coming from candles, but it's not. Those will come much, much later. It's the splotches of light between bodies, between people. That's what attracts us. That's what we like. And I contend that all human beings like that. Of course, most of them don't know it, right? Most artists don't know it. But that's why I'm here. I'm trying to help you. I started to say something else, and once again I interrupted myself, as I always do. Pointy, punctiliar, blah, 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 blah. Never mind, it'll come back. A little bit unusual to have this, make this flower go right off the edge, but I think that's a correct decision there. Okay, chandelier. And then there's a little bit. Woo! Feel free to yell.
I'll stay behind you.
Yeah. Please, I'm not disturbed at all by people yelling at me. This man, you see that man with a tray with about 20 stemware glasses on it? Whew, that would have been exciting, wouldn't it? I'm looking over my shoulder at the scene over and over, going, oh, there's more little points of light than I noticed earlier. So that's nice. Oh yeah, there's some light there. Oh yeah, there's some light there. Oh yeah, there's some light there. Okay, I really need the bride and groom to do their dance. And I hope they do part of it right there. If not, I'm going to put them there anyway. All right. You know, I might be ready to go to oil on this one. That would be fun, wouldn't it? What do you think? No, I better wait till the bride and groom. All right, hang on to your hat. I'm taking you back for a... So here's the room from this side. Going back now. My hidden secret passageway back to my other painting. It's not working too bad. Hello, David Mercer. I am alive. Hello, good to hear from you. All right, is it at all dry? Of course not. It's all damp. All right, I think pretty much all I can do over here. I might give you a bunch of brushes to wash, Jesse. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, my assistant, Jesse. Woohoo! There you go, and hang on, there might be more. Oh yeah, that one. Sorry.
Is that going to change out the water as well?
Sure. Good call. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, now we do something you probably wouldn't have noticed, but I'm going to use not brown, because I'm going to use brown paint. I'm going to use round brushes for the first time on either painting. Let me see if I can find I have so many phones here, and I'm losing track of, here it is. Which one did I take that picture on? I think it was this one. There we go. If I can do this. The answer is no. I like this music, probably. Not that anybody asked me. All right. It's almost staying there. I'm actually using the wrinkle in the paper. I'm using the wrinkle in the paper to try to hold. It's not working. Okay, hang on just a second here, gang. I need to fix this. So I was saying I'm using round brushes for the first time. For some reason, decades and decades ago, I got in the habit of using flat brushes in my watercolor painting. I was a watercolor major, so to speak, if there is such a thing. I was a watercolor major in college. And I did a lot of watercolor as an illustrator all over the decades, through the decades. Anyway, and for some reason, I'm very much in the habit, for better or worse, of using flat brushes. I know other people that use almost exclusively round brushes. Funny.
So sip the wine, sip the food, lots of sipping happening here. You'll find this 2012 vintage Domaine Rosé Paris Feast coming out of Bourgeois specifically. It'll be a 50% blend of Chardonnay, if you had the last one. And then also 50% of the native grape of this little town called Savagnin. Savagnin is really well known for producing a famous French wine called Vigneron, or a style of white wine that is, which literally translates to yellow wine, where that grape is made into a still wine, left under a voile, or a veil of yeast in the barrel. That yeast kind of settles and oxidizes the wine, very similar to the Solera system in sherry, if you're familiar with that. This particular vineyard and winery itself was founded in 1942. Some other major world things were happening, but the Rollet family felt that wine was the key to world peace, and I fully agree with that. You'll find you'll also find, again, next to some earthier richness there. So you want that nuttiness from that sherry-style Savagnin with the acidity of the Chardonnay cut through that fish. Enjoy.
Lovely bride. Abigail. Her last name is Ng. So her father is, I don't know what, is that Cambodian? Asian of some kind, forgive me. NG is her last name, Flores. I think I've gotten his head too big. Not much I can do about that right now. Let me review a little bit some of the technique that I'm positive that I'm going to use when okay, I'm done with that. Well, maybe not. I have another photograph I can use. I like this music. In case you're wondering. When I get home and take this painting with me, there was never any question, by the way, that I was going to finish these paintings at home because, first of all, because I'm doing a 36 by 48 inch watercolor painting, and the reception is not very long. It's ending at 10. So anyway, when I get home, and of course then this will be completely dry. I certainly will be broadcasting. I've not been doing much artwork lately, and it has been driving me nuts. You know, but I've also learned that that's sort of the bane of my existence. I'm tempted, I'm probably not the only one like this, but I'm tempted to be more unhappy about the part of my life that is not hitting on all fours. It's not cooking, you know, that's not just really soaring. I tend to be, so I've guarded against that and kept myself from being grumpy. I'm not painting, but it certainly has crossed my mind, just in case you're wondering. I am doing literally a lot more music, and wait. Was I going to put a person standing over here? I am. I'm doing a lot more music, and what that means is literally just practicing. Literally practicing. I mentioned before, I don't want to bore you all again since you're here to watch an art, not a music video. I started playing a number of instruments in just the last several months. They're all related, mostly related to what I already play, so it's not too crazy. But French horn, which, because I practice trumpet so much, that's a significant shift, but not huge. Mandolin, which is a pretty big shift from guitar, but great, thanks. Yeah. Okay, I'll redistribute those clean brushes. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Of course. Like the screen improv.
That's right.
That's great.
Anyway, I have missed painting. So next week, hopefully, I'll be finishing up these paintings quite a bit, and I hope to broadcast those as I do. Oh, and I'm sorry, forgive me, I keep interrupting. So when I get home, I will be doing what I was hoping to do here, but can't, which is a lot of lifting. I'll be lifting even though the opaque gouache, of course, will be a candidate for being lifted with Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. Well, I think I might end this little broadcast. Make sure I'm still getting my chats, yeah. Hello, Renee. Renee, yes, I do some preaching as well. We'll see whether I ever broadcast that. We'll just see. I'm not ashamed of my preaching, but I don't want to mess up people's world.
This is a sunchoke and roasted monkey broth, a little bit of reishi kombu, so seaweed from the Hokkaido islands of Japan. It's just a broth that's just like tons of umami, just kind of like creating into the
I'm pulling out every trick in the book. And a few that aren't in the book. A little creative spattering there. Oh. Oh well, no green. You know, I was having trouble with it at home, so I have a feeling it would be futile. I thought I fixed it, but evidently I didn't, so don't worry about it. I don't know if the hired help is allowed to cheer for the other hired help or not.
Where did you study?
I'm studying at North Carolina Central University.
Are you really?
Yeah, are you familiar?
Yeah. Not as enough for scooping up the music though. In Durham, you talking about?
Yeah.
Really?
We have it's like a gem of a jazz program.
Is it really? Yeah, because all the professors are black and they're good.
Yeah.
That sounds like racist, but I'm a musician. It's true.
You're a musician?
Yeah.
What do you play?
Trumpet and flugelhorn is my main, then a whole bunch of other things. Saxophone, yeah. Not well, but I play it. I'm loving what you're doing. Good job.
Okay.
I'm loving this. This spray bottle is a technique I've used a little bit before, but not a lot. I'm finding myself really loving it. Look how it warmed up that glow right there. Isn't that nice? I'm going to do some brown spraying. I think this is brown. And the effect I want here is not brownishness, but spatter. Let's see. Yeah, it's working a little bit. It's kind of watery, not as thick as I would like. That's okay.
You're getting paid.
Okay, so even though this is not a watercolor technique, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do more, again, because it's all still wet. I'm going to do more opaque yellow. Hey, Jesse, could you come over here, hold this here for a second? Of course. Thank you. This is not optimal working conditions, I don't know if you can tell.
Yes.
I'm quite proud. I could use another whole table beside me. Yeah, or an assistant. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's right. My assistant, Jesse. The back of his head.
You're right.
All right. Yeah, if you would. Yeah, don't get paint on you though. in my thinking, this won't be effective if the paper is dry and I end up with a bunch of hard-edged things. But I think it will be effective if the paint is wet, which it seems to be adequately wet. This paper is so wrinkly. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Feel free to yell, please, when you're coming through. It's a really good piano player. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah, stay there. No, you're good, you're good. Thank you. This is called gouache, with a G, gouache, and it's opaque watercolor. It's not traditional watercolor because it's opaque. So I'm cheating, if you will. Have you? Yeah. I'm hoping my client won't say, "Hey, we asked for a watercolor painting. You used gouache." I hope when I'm finished, it won't be that obvious that I used opaque medium. That's why I'm doing it while it's wet, so that it runs like this and it doesn't have the same effect. And by the way, any runs that I don't like, I'm not crazy about this one, so I'll just mop it up a little bit. Yeah. But generally, I like the freedom. I love some of what's happening down here. You know, things you can't make happen intentionally. They either happen by accident or they don't happen at all. Yep, that's right. Bob Ross's best quote by far. Well, I'll come back with Kleenex in just a jiffy. Nothing serious? Yeah. It's actually, the device is important, but I want to make sure I don't miss their dance. Oh, God. I don't want to be out eating when they dance.
So your next line, moving on, continuing with white line here, like your final one of the evening. 2016 vintage of Tuesday Figurative coming out of Mexico and Burgundy France. Specifically from the Saltino vineyard side, bring out fruit side there. This particular wine, I just want to point out though, is what I call a watercolor in glass, paying homage to our lovely painting we have over here. Honestly, truly beautiful and amazing. This wine also has a similar expression of this dark, robust, kind of earthy richness that this kind of Chardonnay from Burgundy does have. Actually. The next course does start the warm courses, but for that we're actually diving into the ocean. We're enjoying some lobster there, so in my opinion, a classic pairing would be white Burgundy with lobster, but pasta for some of us there. So you'll find that acidity, that lime zest, or that darker granite and salinity in the wine really helps elevate, complement the shellfish flavor of the next course. Cheers.
Whoops, I've got a spinning ball. I don't know how long that's been going on.
Yep. Your battery went out.
Oh, that's right. That might have done it. Did it turn off?
I believe it did.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Thanks.
Whoops. Did you hear that? Food is about 5 minutes out.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Okay, should be on now. Thank you for catching that. Strange. I don't know why it would have turned off when it just fell.
I think the battery had popped out slightly.
Did it? Haha. That would.
How's it going, buddy?
Good. Good. I'm going to end broadcasting right now. There's tons I can't do because the paper's soaking wet. So, yeah, take it home.
We're getting away. Mid-set snack. Yeah, have to.
Still spinning. Let's see. All right, gang. Am I on? Not quite. I might be. All right. I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for watching. I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for watching. Ran out of juice, kind of. And I'm going to go eat. Ran out of both kinds of juice. Okay, love you. Bye.